Hello, and welcome to Spirit Rising. I'm Maryellen.
And I'm Minnassa. Yes, to be on this podcast, your name must start with an N.
Right.
M. Correct.
So we thought we'd start out today by talking about the most recent messages that Minnassa has given us at Unity of Bloomington that are so rich. I had some follow-up questions. But first, we're going to start with some definitions.
So I felt like there's a foundation that we need to stand on. And what also had me thinking this is that I've had a lot of people, so I'm putting together a series asking, so they love unity. Yeah. And they're like, and then the friends will say, well, do y'all talk about Jesus? What do you actually believe? All right. So those are like systematic theology questions that are being asked. So in some ways, unity doesn't have to be systematic. There is a system of beliefs, but there's really no, unity considers itself a spiritual path, and those questions are coming really from a religious path. Okay. Right? So there's answers. But so let's take a look at this. So a definition of religion is a structured system of beliefs, practices, rituals, and symbols designed to connect people to the sacred, divine, or supernatural, right? So there's a thing, a structured system of beliefs. So when I went to seminary, I took systematic theology. They have a whole system on Christology. So, we know that we don't know whether Jesus is a historical person or not, but there is this symbol of the Christ. So in Krishna, not the son of Isis, I can see his face, so now he has a, well, I'll have to.
Yes, for the wrong person here.
Correct. I'll have to look it up. Lily, who is the son of Isis? Osiris. Right? Mithra. That there's this whole series of people, the Buddha, who represented the Christ consciousness, right? So it doesn't have to be in a person. Now, here in the United States, they're all about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So let's talk about Jesus as representing the Christ, or bringing the Christ consciousness forward, which most people don't even see that. And so spirituality is the individual or shared search for meaning, purpose, and connection to something larger than oneself. So that is something that religion can provide. So this concept of looking for shared purpose. So I feel many people find that unity is just that, this shared understanding, this communal understanding of this spiritual connection. You're valued. Like one of the things I love that I was talking with Leanne, because someone said that all her friends wanted, what do you guys believe in Jesus? And even Hannah and Dylan, who are a younger couple that are part of a bigger spiritual community, they're like, do you talk about Jesus? And so there's this, this whole thing about it. But does Jesus have anything to do with your spirituality would be my first question. Oh, wow. Right? Because, Jesus is a religious figure. And it's a part of this systematic understanding, right? Jesus, God, and all of them. Where for some people, there's Krishna, Shiva, and Brahma, and all of them. For some people, there's Obatala, Yamoja, Oshun, and all of them, right? So you have the Orishas, which are part of African spirituality. You have the Hindu deities, right? So do those entities have anything to do with your spirituality? And they're part of your religion. And does your religion have anything to do with your spirituality? Wow. Right? So this is sort of this is the best place to be right now, because are they separate or are they the same? Right? Is it both and? And so the concepts of, why are you seeking the dead among the living? Is your religion, right, which is your systematic way of believing, right? We all learn some systematic mathematics. We were talking about that last night, that, the way they teach math in Japan versus the way they teach it in the U.S. is very different. And so we had to memorize everything. This is my boomer generation. Memorize your times tables. Know this, where, in Japan, they have a much more integrated, this is the flow of it. Right? That's why it's evil, because it was so easy. Where ours was hard. No. Right? But that same concept, it's the same thing. 1 + 1 is 2 wherever you learned it, but it was how you were taught, or 10 × 10. Right? It's the system. So for many of us in the U.S. and many people who are growing in our spirituality, it's this system How does what I feel, that's what Leanne said, when have a feeling about unity, I have a feeling about these beliefs, right? So how can that feeling, which is the spirituality, fit into the system? And so that's the challenge, right? Most people have left their system
Right.
of religion
Yeah.
because they're on this individual pursuit of connecting to that divine. And so they come to unity. And so we have some rituals and things to again connect them to that sort of bigger structure, right? Unity, obviously, it's a denomination. If you don't know where you've been, it's a denomination. We're worldwide. You know, we got unity in Bloomington of Indiana. There's one in Anderson, Indiana. There's one in Indianapolis, Indiana. There's one in Fort Wayne. Right. There's one in Chicago. There's a bunch in California, and right. So it isn't just like our little center, but again, so there's a systematic understanding of what we're about. And how do people get that? And so that's sort of the crux of your questions, and I want to come back to them. And that's where I've been with Easter. You know, I said that Lily was all about, He is risen. What is your message on Easter? He is risen, right? Okay, but can Easter be about something other than that? Yeah. Right? Or Luke's message, He is risen, now what? Or so what? Right? That what I feel that people are feeling on their spiritual path, and there's just amazing work about women. You leave the church at a certain age because, you know, we're all like, I don't believe this, right? But when they have children, they come back. But what is happening is they're not coming back. Right? Because now they're looking at this religion, this system, right? And this could have nothing to do with God, Jesus, whoever, right? It's this system, and systems are created to maintain themselves. So we need folks in these pews. So all of a sudden, the focus comes not on how is this touching your heart and how is this empowering your life, but I need you back in the pews. Right? And, you know, it's not my biggest frustration, but I think the challenge at unity is that people forget unity is also a business. And so when you come in and the AC is on or the heat is on and the lights are on and the building's safe during a week, that's not magic, right? And when you have a seminary or, you know, seminary prepared minister, that's not magic. And you call Kat, our amazing admin, and everything's like sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. She took care of it. Okay, that's not magic. That's work. That's money. Right, you see Randy rerouting our gutter system. Okay, that's money. So people forget that there is a financial aspect, right? They want to come and feel good. And it's like, okay, well, do you want to come back and feel good the next week? And so how do we talk about that? And yes, you know, I stopped looking at the nickels and noses on the bulletin because that can drive me insane. Now, I do get a weekly treasurer's report, and the first thing I look at on that is how many people attended, because I'm looking for consistency in attendance, right? But so we could put the whole deal together to attract people, which I don't think we do, because I've had some pretty hard messages, right? And people still come back. Like we have a Black History Month celebration in an all-white church. And I told you guys, Maryellen just be up there saying stuff. It's like, oh, Lord, I want to grab her hand and run out, right? Again, even on Women's History Month, so in a very patriarchal system, right? You brought a very powerful message. Again, that I think for me, a spiritual center is about the truth. It's about how do I grow, right? We're a center for spiritual growth. Don't get mad at me when I am putting together messages and feeling the leading of spirit, and people are saying, I want to know more, because we're about spiritual growth. So don't be mad at me. That's what it says on the building, right? I just came there after that. But again, religion gives me the capacity to get lost and caught up or get fixated on the rituals versus the connection. I shared on Sunday. I feel like, did I share this on Sunday or did I share it on Saturday? Or even so, Saturday we're having I know we're having this amazing season of fundraising. Like last night, fresh homemade pasta by Simone and Joe LaMantia.
Wow.
right? This family create. I thought, so we're having a season of fundraising where we're doing fundraising things. It's fun, and it's raising funds, and it's a way to build community. And so I did a presentation on the tarot. And so one lady said, "Oh, where you going?" The friend said, "Where are you going today?" So I'm going to a class on the tarot. "Oh, where are you going at?" "My church." You're like, "Huh?" Right? Kind of that concept. And for people to say, "Why?" I'm looking for a place that's a little woo-woo, a little Christy, and a community. Right? And so again, right? So that Christy part is I need some kind of system. I need a structure. I need that woo-woo where I can feel my spirituality, a bigger connection. I'm not being judged. And then, yes, an amazing community.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where the traditional church has lost that it was really a community.
Yeah.
But the systems, the rituals, we all talk about very famous black minister. I can't even think of his name, and I don't want to. I think it's Marvin Sapp. If it's not him, I'm sorry. But he wanted to raise a certain amount of money. He told the ushers, close the doors. And the ushers are like, he said, "I said, close the doors," because he needed to raise a certain amount of money, and you're not going to leave an offering. Come on now. Yes. Yes. We take up an offering every week. If you notice, I'm not the one giving the call. I don't say anything about the money, right? Because I'm there to feed and to serve. And so, yes, come September, I'll start talking about intentional year-end giving, right? But so again, as people get into alignment, all the things that a center needs, intentional givers, people who serve, those things come. Because most of us sat in this church where all this stuff was happening around us, and you were like, "Oh, this must be magic." No, it's people. But so to religion, who is Jesus? Okay, why does it even matter? What does Jesus have to do with your life, with your spirituality? Well, I was at the Democratic Women's Caucus here in Bloomington. Joe and Meredith had invited me. Those troublemakers. And there's a man that's running for a position. And they introduced me, so proudly and with love. "This is my minister." And, we go to Unity of Bloomington. They're like, "Well, what do you believe at Unity of Bloomington?" So this is my lead. Well, let me tell you what we don't believe in.
Nice. Yeah.
Right? We don't believe in hell and sin and judgment and damnation. We believe that, now I'm going to hit the 5 principles, that God is a principle and that principle is good, and so we are good. So there's no original sin. Well, he was like, "Well, what do you mean about that? Then what is the redemptive death of Jesus?" Okay, what does it mean? Is that even a thing? Right? But again, his religion, his ritual. And so the next month I went, he wouldn't even look me in the eye.
Oh, no.
Right? Because again, so the question is, why is Jesus so important to you? I'm not saying that Jesus is an important person, but most people don't even have a systematic understanding of who Jesus is, yet you want to use that as the paradigm for every person's church. Right? Because if you take a look at the teachings of Jesus, the best question would be, what does love mean to you? And how is your congregation showing that? In what ways am I loved? When Jesus said to the woman caught in adultery, which is like by herself, I don't understand how that works, but okay, caught in the very act of adultery by herself. Right? Obviously there was some person there, but he wasn't in trouble. Right? Let the person who was without sin throw the first stone. Yeah, here we go. Y'all up in her biz, but let's talk about your own business. Right? That's love. When he would have had every right as probably a rabbi and as a man in that culture to condemn her. But he chose love. There's a woman that came in, he's at some church people's house, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And this woman comes in, as you'll see many Christian songs about the alabaster box, where she brought this very costly oil and anointed Jesus' feet. Right? Well, the people from the church, they're thinking like, if he knew what type of woman she was, he wouldn't be letting her touch him. Right? Is that your religion telling you that you can classify and determine who people are and their value? Where Jesus brought a spiritual path. Now, I would say Jesus was a psychic because Jesus answered the man's thoughts. He didn't say it out loud. It says the man thought. And he says, so you're mad about her devotion to me? And the man's probably like, what? I didn't say nothing out loud. Right? Because again, being receptive to the love of someone. Again, Jesus, we got all these folks here. You need to send them away. And Jesus like, to where? It's like, it's not our problem. And Jesus like, what you got? Well, we got some little boy's lunch. We don't have enough is what's on their minds. But from that spiritual point of view, how can there not be enough? Right? In Jesus' spiritual connection and that Christness within him, he understands there's always enough. So let's sit down. We're going to I'm going to connect with the divine. I'm going to thank you for what's here. And we're going to feed everyone. And 12 baskets taken up. That's a spiritual path. So that's what we're going to talk. So that's sort of the foundation, right? So do you see Jesus in that Christ way, or well, I just love me some Jesus. Do you? Who is Jesus to you? What do you know about Jesus? Right? Why is he the deal? Well, now you're being blasphemous. Well, actually, I'm not. Right? I'm asking you. You want to come to my center or come to me and want me to explain what Jesus means in my center. And I'm saying, well, what does Jesus even mean to you? In what way are you reflecting what Jesus means to you? Right? Where is that? Right? So it's Jesus the Christ, right? There's a whole thing at his baptism. The Spirit fell on him and then he stepped into his ministry. So it's there is when he's connected with his Christness. Are you living that? Yeah. I'm just saying, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will see God. Have you ever even read the Sermon on the Mount? Have people even read the New Testament? Do you even know anything that Jesus said? Do you know anything about the life of Jesus? No, but you want to be like, well, if you can't tell me about Jesus, you don't know nothing about Jesus, right? So don't be coming to me. Don't be coming to my center, into my community, right? So there is a system. So the beauty of unity is that the founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, consider themselves the church of practical Christianity, not practical Jesusanity, practical Christianity. So how can we take what the Christ was teaching us and live that out practically? All right. And now, there, see, I brought it around.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I brought it around.
Thank you so much.
Because that's the difference. We have our rituals. You go into the Catholic Church and the host is there. So they believe that when the priest does the blessing over the bread and wine, it now becomes the actual body and blood of Jesus. Now, I'm not trying to drink anybody's real blood or eat anybody's real body. Right? So I'm from Protestantism, so it's symbolically, right? But even then, what is the symbol? What am I doing drinking? I told you about when Lily, I love drinking the blood of, I'm like, what? The blood of Jesus. I'm like, it's grape juice when it's not at the church, right? Like, Lily, stop saying that.
I love it.
Right? But again, most people don't have a systematic understanding of who Jesus is historically or in the text of the four Gospels. They don't have a systematic understanding of their religion. And that spirituality is, how do I connect to these concepts and live them in my life practically? And so I can hit really hard on, are you doing your practices right? Because you guys, I can't even, you don't know the amazing people at the community. Just some amazing people. And I want to make sure that amazingness is getting outside, because our community needs it. Our state needs it. Our region, the Midwest needs it. And the world needs it. Right? So when you have a bunch of shy people, it's like, stop being shy, right? I mean, the love. Maryellen will tell you that I fussed at the board members about something. And the gist of it was not that I was fussing, right? But you are all loving, gracious people. Based on that, this was my expectation. And so this congregation is loving, and they're healing, and they're growing, and they're asking questions because they're ready to take this out of the center. And what happens is you hit people that have this understanding that's not even systematized. Right. But they want us to be systematic in what we believe. And so I got you. If you don't have it already, buy the book, Discover the Power Within You. That will be the textbook. I'm going to do a series of messages We're going to look at Charles Fillmore's understanding of the Christ. And then the book study will be Discover the Power Within You. Wow. So it gives a systematic understanding of what unity is about. Because people have asked me, what about heaven and hell? What about it? Right? Are these things real? Again, this is part of religion. I need you in my center. I need you in my church. I need your financial support. So what is a powerful way? You can do it the insane unity way by loving people and wanting love, or I can use fear and guilt and shame. Those, let me tell you, guilt, fear, and shame are amazing, and they're mighty, and they work. I hate to say that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's why folks are in church. Now, part of the reason is now you're getting these youngsters like Maryellen and younger, and they're like, Right? So I get frustrated with Maryellen. I want her to have her sons do something. And then she's like, well, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, what the hell? What, was it even a question, right? But that's what happens. You have a group of people who have choices, and then when they get into churches, they're like, you're not going to tell me. Right? So they're just creating this whole, it's having this whole reverberation because people do feel like they have choice, and they do. Except for when I want you to do something. They do have a choice, and they do have a freedom. We've raised like Lily. Be curious. Lily could question me. I wasn't like, I'm perfect as your parent, even though I was. I'm perfect as your parent, right? Question me. Curiosity. Have the correct,
Yep.
So when you have this whole thing, all of a sudden people are saying, well, this doesn't make sense. Okay, why do I need to do this? What is going on with that? And so when you do that in a system that has been my generation, boomers and older, we could just do it. Come to church on Sunday, do this, do that. This is expected of you. Next. But now you have these generations saying, well, what is this? Right? I don't feel connected. And I'm not feeling it in my heart. And it's not making a difference in my life. But when I watch these people on YouTube and I go to these places, I'm feeling love, I'm feeling accepted, I'm feeling empowered. Okay, I'm not with that. So, church is all demonized. The black church has been, trying to be on my best behavior right now, Maryellen, has been a cash cow for years.
Wow.
Well, people are getting sick of that. Right? And at Unity, you can see what we give to the center, right? At Christmas time, we take care of a family. When this whole thing happened economically, and we heard, not in our own community, but in the community of Bloomington, we started raising food. Yep. Right? I mean, that's how we get down. People have a need. A young lady connected to our center, her son comes there, and she's moving to place. The first words out of my mouth, what do you need? Because if I put the word out that you need kitchen appliances, that you need kitchen towels, you're going to have 800 of those things. So let me know, right? I know the generosity of this community. And so that's what people are wanting to connect with. There was that whole thing where people were calling churches, can you help me just get money for my baby's formula? And they're like, are you a member of the church? No.
Wow.
Click, or that's how we hang up now. Yeah. Click, right? So again, people are like, I want community. I want to know that I'm valued, that I can depend on you. And so that's where I'm standing in the gap of that. So, right, we need to get our spiritual practices in place, right? It's not like in the old day when we just go and sit in church for an hour.
Yep.
In the black church, what I was saying is, so again, money and guilt. So that's, I love seeing on TikTok so many African Americans deconstructing. There's a great white woman, Reverend Carla. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok, deconstructing. There's another thing, I can't remember, but she goes through this whole thing about stuff that's happening, deconstructing. People are like, no, I'm getting away from that. So in the black church, again, fear and guilt and shame isn't working. And there's a whole set of black fraternities. And why do we have that? Because they're Jim Crow and all those things, segregation, but the Divine Nine. So the AKA and the Alphas, right? This whole thing that, again, to build the community. Well, now some churches are saying that those things are demonic. Whoa. So how can these organizations that have been serving community since 1908, I know that's like when they were all founded, right? Well, because these are Greek organizations, right? Don't have nothing to do with the Greek gods. I say, but the Greek gods are demonic. There's only one God. It's the Lord. Right, here you go. Wow. Here comes Jesus. Jesus doesn't have nothing to do with the AKAs or the Omegas. right? But here's my money. I'm giving that. And so I'm not at church on Sunday because here I'm serving my community, something that's making me feel better than the church. Well, now they got to demonize that. I'm not trying to make it seem like the black church is the worst place on the planet, because white churches, they're doing the same thing. Right. When the Southern Baptists kicked churches out because they had ordained a woman as their minister, okay, problem right there. Really? Right? So again, all this mess happening in churches, people are looking for something. There's still that hunger to be in community. There's still that hunger to be a part of something bigger. How do I connect to this something bigger? You know, when I stand at the Grand Canyon, I feel so small. I think, but you know, I love flowers. When I look at the intricacy of flowers, I think, wow. You know, we set up a hummingbird feeder.
Oh, yeah.
And a little hummingbird came and he drank out of every single one of them. It's like, right, in that connection. You can't get that sitting in a building full of rules and regulations. Right. All right, so enough of that.
Yeah, and I think, having kids right now, I think they're very suspicious, and they know, and it's like, you can't force, well, I wouldn't force that on them, but I do hope, I've been meaning to have this conversation with them and haven't gotten around to it yet. But I do hope that they find that sense of something else that's bigger and connect with that. Maybe that's called Christ. But they can have a different language for it. And that one day they do come to unity or someplace else that nurtures that. And that says, yes, let's be that together and see what happens. Because it's an incredible experience. It's really hard too. But it's very worthwhile. I've never had a community. I guess I have. I have, had different communities, but not like this. This is like very intentional. It's really special what you've and all of us are creating together.
I gotta tell people, I'm a great speaker and I'm a great pastor. I love people. I know how to disciple people. I know all of that. But I don't know if I shared this with you years ago. One of my pastors said, if you're walking forward and there's no one behind you, you're not a leader. You're just taking a walk. Right? So this is about, and I always tell the people, you'll never hear me say, well, get behind me. I say, let's lock arms. This is how we move forward, locking arms together. This is what the world needs. This is why traditional churches are having real challenges. Because people are looking for something that connects, as we are all disconnected from each other because, I'm on the phone and Raven's on the phone and Lily come over and we all on the phone. Yeah. People are looking for something. And so these questions that you sent me.
So here we go. Augustine, speaking of kids, he's 15, was asking me after, I think, one of these sermons, like, what'd she talk about? And so then I get a chance to be like, okay, here it is in a nutshell.
You can come to the center and find out what I talk about.
I think he was actually there maybe downstairs that day.
Yeah, that's true. He's trapped downstairs with donuts.
But he is curious.
And his granddad.
So I was trying to explain to him and telling him about the story that you shared, the road to, how do you say it?
Emmaus. The road to Emmaus.
And so, and actually, I think both kids were in the car. And so I was talking about the story, but I was explaining it like, okay, these guys were walking away from Jerusalem towards Emmaus and encountered this person. And they started talking about what had just happened. And it was after the crucifixion. And so they were just kind of all like, oh, and explaining it to him. And they didn't know that they were actually speaking to Jesus Christ because it didn't look like him or whatever. They were all in their heads about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then
all in their heads.
They were like, hey, let's hang out and break some bread and chill for a while or whatever. And they were sitting around talking, and the two men then realized.
Right, as he broke the bread, as the fellowship happened, as this, again, breaking the bread, breaking the word. Yeah. Then they were like, oh, dang it.
Right. And then he disappeared. And then they ran back to Jerusalem to tell everybody what happened. So I'm trying to explain this to the kids, and they're like, okay,
Correct. So I think the important thing, and I think we'll make this, that in many traditional religions, it's all about in your head. Where even with the prayer chaplains training, the whole gist is to move that 18 inches from here to here to get in your heart. And that's where spirituality is. Get in your heart and then move from there.
Yeah, so I've just been thinking about that. How is my heart on fire?
Well, I'm glad that Augustine was asking.
Oh, it's so exciting. So I just thought we'd talk about that.
All right, let's talk about it.
I'm wondering how your heart is on fire too, and how my heart is on fire, and how we live with that.
Well, I think how my heart is on fire is really to serve this community. And I smile because I'm grateful for the boundaries that they put around me. Like, you're not doing too much, are you? You're taking vacation this year, right? Like, but yeah, to be able to interact with people, with my sweet girl passing away, it had me in a place. I can still be there. But, meeting with people, back to having lunch with people, having coffee with people, and wanting to hear their hearts. Because where my heart is on fire is to, it's like, it's not like this, but stop hugging me and go out and hug everyone else. Right? That all this love and all this joy, it's like it's wrapped up in our building.
Yeah.
I want it outside of the building.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that people there don't love other people, but I want, so, and they are doing that. So like Hannah and Dylan are this beautiful, beautiful young couple. And their friends are asking. Because so some people want to know, do you guys talk about Jesus? And then other people are like, do you talk about Jesus? Right? Because right?
Totally.
So my heart is on fire to love this community. I was reminded, sitting across from Joni last night at the dinner, when I came to the center, I had an outsider's eye. I'm like, oh, we need to fix this. We need to do this. I was all ready. And Joni, who was the president of the board at that time, looked me straight in my eye and said, brought the receipts. You said in my interview that you were going to love us. Now, in my mind, fixing things is my love language. So this is how I'm loving you. But I realized, and so for a year, all my little projects, all the things, I just backed away. Right? Love. Right? So after a year of loving them, and I'm coming up my second year, I still love. Oh, bit by bit. Right? We got this amazing tech booth. The choir we're at a place where now, we need more seats. We need more microphones. Yes. Thank you. But what was it? Because I got in there and said, do this and this. No. Let me love. Let me love. Come in. People are like, oh, like, where'd you meet your minister at? Well, we went to C3 before I drank. Right? Again, so there is this access. So my heart is on fire to love my community. And my heart is on fire to build up each person individually. Because I want the best version of yourself out in the world. So people say, oh, I don't know what to do. And say, well, you know what? I'm not sure what to do either. But let me just stand with you right now. And I'm going to pray with you, knowing that the God in you, all is well. That every resource you need is within you. And that you are not alone on this path. And I'm inviting you to take a few minutes to just be quiet with me right now. All right? Boom! Go home, families transformed. Boom! Go home, families transformed. Boom! You took that to work, now your work is transformed. Right? Like it's not like an evil plan, but it's like, yes, the unity takeover of Bloomington, right? But unity is really the love of the Christ. This honest conversations, courageousness. Is what the world, that's it's what the world needs.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come from having an amazing leader. And I know who I am, and I will stand in that. But I can't talk to everybody. But Maryellen talks to people. And Leanne talks to people. And Jody talks to people. And Joni talks to people. And Heather talks to people. And Christy talks to people. And Susan Dabb talks to people. And Joe and Meredy talk, right? There they are. Those are the true agents of the church. I'm like the person that's feeding them. Here, get this big meal. Go out. And when you come back, I'll feed you again. I'll hug you up. I'll love you up. I'll inspire you. Now go out. Now, I'm also out doing stuff. Causing trouble in the Bloomington Multi-Faith Alliance. Maryellen knows. She's one of the leaders of our center. That they wanted to have this annual meeting with brown bag. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, no. We will host it, and my church will feed you. Because... Right, again, but food is love. So all those things. Yeah. All right, let's get to your questions.
Well, I just appreciate that story so much because, again, I could explain it to a 12-year-old and 15-year-old, and they were like, yeah, I get that. Like, I understand that heart connection and that passion and that drive and desire and love. And so having just the practicalness of this, I'm one of those people who grew up with Jesus and I was like, the church is scary, So when I hear you talk about it, I'm like, okay, all right, I can get with that, and I think a lot of people would identify with that. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, so you talked about transformed people in the world. And I'm just wondering also like about you and how you're transforming and on your journey and how do you know when you're transforming? Okay, well we don't have to get
good. That's good. So let's talk about one of the things that I said is that people are informed or you're transformed.
Yeah.
Now you need information to transform. But most people get information, it goes in here and it came out here. Mm-hmm. So information goes in here and that's how the transformation works. And again, that's a spiritual concept versus a religious concept.
Right.
My religious concept is I did all these things. I got my first communion. I did my confirmation. I got married in the church. I took my children for baptism. I got buried in that church. And so when I wake up from being dead, there's going to be a list of things, right? St. Peter is going to have did you go to your bar mitzvah? Or we'll say confirmation, right? Bar mitzvah is a different thing.
Yeah.
I went to my confirmation. I got married in the church. I said okay, you can come in here. Right? Because that's what religion is about. It's about what happens to you after you die. And it's very systematized. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is what spirituality about is what's happening to you while you live. Mm. Right? Because good luck with that whole deal. Mm-hmm. That hope in the end it works out the way you thought it did. Right? Again, that's the big walk of faith.
Yeah.
Where we're saying, I don't know what's going to happen to you after you die, but I know right now you can have life and have it more abundantly, right? That was my message Beautiful. This Sunday. John 10:10, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And then the Christ says, but I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So does your religion, is it killing, stealing, and destroying, yes, or is it giving life? And is your spirituality giving life? And so that's my process of transformation. And so where I'm at right now is saying, what at the church needs my attention and what does not? Mm-hmm. Right? So people are coming and asking me, like literally, Leanne's like said, I need you to teach more classes. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm like, Phyllis, where's your LUT, your licensed unity teacher? Mm-hmm. So I hear my congregation, other people asking me. So right now, I'm at the place of how do I put a class together? And it probably have to be more than one. Yeah. To serve my community. That's where my transformation, that's where my heart's on fire to do. For my personal transformation, so it's really been a concept of the gift of Gail's death. Mm-hmm. Who am I now? Right. I had a whole plan. I was going to be an old lady with her. Well, that's not the plan anymore. Mm-hmm. Or that's not the path. So who am I? Mm. So taking a look at those things, so I thought, okay, no, I stepped on the scale. I was like, I didn't know the scale numbers went that high. Lord have mercy, right? So who am I? So, I'm doing my Weight Watchers, and I had to jump through a whole bunch of hoops to get my Zep bound, right? I had to prove, my mother had, they say, if you had medullary thyroid cancer, don't know. Okay, well, my mother had medullary thyroid cancer. Huh. So I had to go get a genetic test and make sure I didn't have it, right? But that's how I'm transforming. What is my relationship with food? Mm-hmm. I knew I had begun healing food because there were sometimes I'd eat something and be like, right? And then I told God, food doesn't give me that feeling anymore. So I thought, okay, here's that path. So how do I take care of my physical self? Right? Making sure that I get enough sleep. Eating consciously. So the beauty of being on the Zep bound, you're like, oh my God, you're just putting your business out there? Why not? Yeah. Is because everything empties kind of slowly. So before, even on Weight Watchers, which I'm still on, because Weight Watchers is my path. Yes. Zep bound is the tool to help me. But that's not, I don't believe in the magic pill. Mm-hmm. But I could still be just eating unconsciously, staying in my points, right? I was eating the right things, but so with Zep bound, I have to chew my food so slowly because I need to make sure it's very well ground up before it gets into my stomach because it's harder for the chunks to come out. And so how do I transform my relationship with food? Then how do I transform my relationship with my body, right? Because every woman's body is not right. Right? There's something wrong. Okay, really? But how do I make sure that I take care of my body so I get to 90 like my mom, I'm still kicking around like her. So doing my dance lessons, doing my yoga. I'm going to get over to the Y because I realize when I come up the stairs, I'm like, oh, thank God, no one is here at the top of the stairs. I'm like, right? Well, because I don't do anything where I'm climbing.
Right.
So that's a different aspect of my cardio.
Yeah.
So working on that way and then transforming my mind, being willing to be unbothered. So
Wow.
we talked about in the tarot class the Nine of Pentacles, which is the Lady of Leisure, and the Queen of Pentacles. So Pentacles covers the earth signs. And then the Light Seer's Tarot, the Queen of Pentacles is this beautiful black woman, and she's just like, that arms just, I thought, yes. That for that transformation for me is to be unbothered. Am I open to people's words of constructive criticism and even regular non-constructive criticism? Yes, that's the part of the role that I play. But to be unbothered, I know the path that I'm on, and I know the work that I'm doing. And there are people who speak wisdom into my life. One of them sitting right here next to me. I mean, your family, I mean, between your dad and Mary Medora and you, I'm like getting emails like, yeah, you're doing great. I'm like, so I thought, oh, is this like a thing that earth signs can really catch on? Am I missing the water signs and the fire signs and the air signs? But again, being able to transform to knowing myself holistically. In the process of transforming, I think, okay, well, how am I to grow spiritually? I feel like I have a lot of tools, and am I making sure that I'm feeding myself in that way? So not just making sure that I have information so I can put my message together or teach a class, but how am I feeding myself to make sure that I'm growing spiritually? So looking at those things, but knowing that, the thing, I think I'm turning 63 on my birthday.
That's one of those birthdays.
Yes, like, what is my birthday? That even though I have lived and have life experience and being open to still areas where I can grow. Being willing to this is probably the hardest thing. What Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. And I don't like to do that. So when you show me who you are, and I'm like, no, I'm sure there's a nicer version of them. And no, okay, and I'm all shot up with arrows because I should have got out of the way.
Yep. Yeah.
Someone one time talking about, you're in a picture with Kathy Kinsman. She says, your eyes are so soft. And I said, yes, because Kathy Kinsman's a safe space. Maryellen is a safe space. Leanne Kelly, safe space. Mary Medora, Michael May, safe spaces. So I am wanting to be more intentional then about spending my time there. So when I go to a space that maybe it's not full of those safe people or safe spaces, I've been fortified. And so I'm able to do that. And that's just real talk. That even as a minister, not everyone in the center is a safe space because we're all growing and evolving at a different rate. Right? And for me, a safe space is a place where I can be myself holistically. So, I've had some combos with your dad where it's like, here comes some sailor language, right? Or I can be like, I don't know what to do. Or I can be weak and vulnerable and strong and frightened and powerful and silly and angry and all those things in a space without that feeling of like, I have to be Reverend Minnassa.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you. It's just so nice to hear that from you, the personal and the human, because that's being a spiritual leader. My goodness, like no pressure, but I do think
no pressure.
A lot of, we put people on a pedestal,
yes,
and then don't expect them to be human anymore. And that's not fair. And so it's just nice to hear also, even though you're giving us these messages, like you're doing the work too. And here's where I'm working and here's what's sticky for me. And yeah,
that's right. Like, that I work with Stephanie.
Yes.
So I have a spiritual director, a person who is guiding and helping me. I do my work with the tarot, my tarot tools. And I have other friends. I have Lily. Lord have mercy. So we talk about informed and transformed.
Yeah.
So oftentimes in traditional churches, people are informed, right? They think they know something about Jesus. They understand their religion. I say that most people aren't really Christians. They're a Baptist, a Methodist, an Episcopalian, a Lutheran, a JW, Jehovah's Witness, a Seventh-day Adventist, because they know that system. And that's what they really believe. Right? And that's fine. And then you want, where being transformed is taking that information, like I said, through your heart and then being able to live it. So most people don't live their information, they know their information.
Right.
And so that's where it comes to that question is your heart on fire? Or is the information getting filtered through your heart chakra? Is it getting out of your head into your heart and then in as in through you?
That's so helpful to me too when thinking about, like when I heard that informed or transformed, I was thinking about, I've been frustrated in my own little self about people who take Fox News for truth, or so maybe you're getting information from a bad source. And I'm like, but then I was like, Maryellen, clearly something's coming up for you, around this. And aren't I privileged to have the people and the education around me to say that's not real, and here's more of the source of truth. So to take that, even for me, even if it's good information, just come back to my heart with it. Because stop beating other people up. Stop, like saying, oh, you're bad and you're wrong. Just forgive, and allow for, and hope, and say, oh my goodness, isn't this amazing that I've been so lucky and I've been so privileged to come up with more realistic ways and truthful ways of seeing the world and seeing each other. And not everybody has that. And I'm lucky that I got out of, a system that really doesn't tell people the truth and really does want to keep people asleep and really does want to have power over. So thinking about information, am I informed? Yes. But so I might know all the things that's what's happening right now, but I could be a total jerk to somebody, about it and say, oh, you're wrong. And that's not helpful. That's not going to get us where we want to go. So how can I soften and let go of that and also come into my heart and say, okay, maybe everyone does not have the privileges and the upbringing that I have had and the truth that I have had revealed to me. And they're stuck in places that are constantly feeding them lies and keeping them asleep and power over. And that is awful for them, and so instead of me, shaking my finger and saying, why aren't you like this and that? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you are stuck in this way of living and in this consciousness, this lower consciousness.
Correct. So in this consciousness, and even the fact information, but to be curious. So I could think about what I learned in U.S. history. And one of the biggest things was that part of the information was like, well, slaves just dealt with it. Well, now you let black folks go to college and there were slave rebellions all the time, right? So then it's a way to free you, right? Like, oh, really? Being curious, asking questions. And that, yes, information, even if it comes from a source, even just question it. What you're talking about led me to Lily's taking a class, and the teacher, bless her heart, is really wanting the students there to get a touch of sort of the struggle for people of color in this country. So she's having them read all these books, like Something by Bell Hooks, and then, which is very radical, and she's having them read all these things. But Lily's paper is, by the time a person gets to college, it's almost too late. If you don't start when they're younger, right? Because since the way the brain works is it creates a safety net. Yeah. So no, what you're saying is outside of my safety net, and I want to be safe, right? So even like people who listen to Fox News, right, which we don't consider to be a good source of news, where they'll say, well, the stuff you're listening to is not a good source of news, right? So maybe because what MSNBC is saying is part of my safety net, I'm like, yeah, this is right. So again, just the way that, but yes, take it to my heart. That just because you're saying what I agree with doesn't mean it's right. Or is it right for me? And is it transformative for me? again, so yeah, take it to my heart, and that, yeah, you can believe what you believe on Fox News or MSN or whatever, but is it making you a better person?
Right.
Is it connecting you to community, or is it disconnecting you from community? Is it showing that everyone is valued, or no, only certain people are valued? That's where I would begin to filter that sort of information.
Yep.
Because yes, a lot of liberal channels want to point their finger at people, and it's like,
Yeah.
So very true. So yes, we all got information, and that was part of my message on Sunday. That yes, when I wanted to get a spiritual book, I had to go down to Bodhi Tree bookstore or get right nowadays Amazon, Hay House, you can get it all. Okay, so now you have a bunch of spiritual information. Now what? Right, that's what religion taught us. Get the information. But spirituality is get the information, and then how does it transform the world? How does it connect you with other people? How is it showing love? How is it bringing light to the world? How is it dispelling dark from spaces? How is it bringing healing? That's the whole point of information. Isn't just, like my aunt has a house full of information. Well, it's outdated now, but she just have the encyclopedias. Okay, books full of information. Right. So what?
Yeah, hasn't gotten us very far where we want to be. Yeah, indeed. We have a longer way to go, and we've got to come into our hearts to get there. Yeah,
and then do something with it. So then there's that, at Unity, I was talking to someone. I said, well, you got to get your board involved. I said, my board is full of a bunch of big-hearted, non-confrontational people.
True.
All right, and this involves confrontation. So, all right, you got to get in your heart and then go into those uncomfortable spaces.
Yep.
To do that. So yeah, that's how transformation becomes. Get that information, filter it through your heart, find where it's uncomfortable, what part of your heart you don't go into, shine the light on that, interact with someone. That's the thing about spirituality. That's the point of community. It's not just I'm sitting in my house and I read this amazing book by Wayne Dyer and I feel something in my heart and now yay, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
It's about community. Yeah. That's the myth of the American individual. Right? Back in the day, you lived in the house with your grandparents and your grandkids as we were a community. And that's sort of how you could get a mixture of thoughts. So like, your granddad believed something, and you'd see your dad going, you go, oh, okay. All right. And then your dad would say something, you see your mom go, you go, okay, right? So this is a way to say, let me think about it. Maybe there's a way to see it differently, right?
Yeah, it was interesting also to hear you talk about how guilt and shame can even come up in, our spiritual growth, and we can still have those same, boy, we like to go back to those old tapes. And I think that's even in our brains, like the well-worn path, and we'll just go back there. And so even if we know some things, the information again is there, but we could still guilt ourselves and not enjoy our beautiful lives and the abundance of our lives.
Or sometimes I reach out to people about something that's like, I'm sorry I wasn't there on Sunday. Well, I wasn't even reaching out to you because of that. And do I want everyone there on Sunday? Of course. That's my pastor ego. I wanted the church to be full, right? But okay, I'm not going to be there on some Sundays, right?
Yeah.
But again, that feeling like, you got to give me an explanation for why you weren't there on Sunday.
Yeah. It was a nice reminder to love, to laugh, to relax.
Yes, can you? Yeah. That's the spiritual path.
Yeah.
If if it's a grind and awful and hurtful and
yep,
I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying, I wouldn't do it. Why?
And you also said that while we're doing this work, that changes are subtle. And I appreciated that so much because we can get really, let down by ourselves if we're like trying really hard and still reacting, in the same way or whatever that thing is that we're working on. So I just appreciated, is there anything that you're working on in your life that you've kind of noticed or had to be like, oh, okay, hold on, I'm actually doing my best at this, and this is a really hard thing for me.
Well, I will share. So being on Weight Watchers, you weigh yourself once a week, which in the old days, you'd go in the media and they'd weigh in front of everyone. And so guilt and shame.
Right.
So now I have my little magical scale. So I had weighed myself one time and I had gained not even half a pound. but I was in a snit. Just in a snit. This not working. I'm wasting my time doing this. I could have had I don't know what I don't know. I could have had an ice cream sundae and a donut and 5 hot dogs would have put me in the hospital. So I don't know. It was, I could have had this, right? I was all in a snit. So I'm getting dressed and I had to go somewhere and put my clothes on. I get in the car and I'm like, my pants are not choking me. Right? So the scale said one thing, right? And it wasn't even half a pound, right? But my pants were telling me, right? So again, and that's the whole thing. Well, I didn't meditate for 5 hours today. But you talk to people in their lives, they felt loved. They felt valued.
Yeah.
You felt valued. You felt happier. You realized, you know what? No, I can't do this, and no, I can't do this, and no, I can't do this. And so today I'm going to sit at home and relax, and you had a good night's sleep, and you woke up feeling like a dream. But, right, we're so easy to catch the things we didn't do, or that's not working right.
Yep.
And so even in those ways of being able to relax, to, I would say for me at the center, to be more present to people's needs and to be able to speak honestly. Like I said on Sunday, after the Namaste moment, we had a lot of hugging and things, but I know from conversations with people in the center, people are there carrying some heavy loads.
Yeah.
So let's hold space for that while we're all hugging and smiling, and that energy, you can't help but feel healed and whole and healthy in there. When people walk out, let's help them with that load. I think the world of religion is yes and no. And the path of spirituality is both and. That was a concept they talked about at seminary. And as an earth sign, I'm like, no, it's yes or no. Right? And so that's been my transformation, for it to be able to be both and. I think you and I had a conversation where, two things that are opposite can be true at the same time. Yeah. So yes, like your grandparents love Fox News, but they are smart, intelligent people, loving people.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Right? And then the same for us, I watch not Fox News, so that means I'm informed, but, I have this one belief in it, right? So
totally.
Again.
Yes.
And that, yes, as we are growing, like you said, those old tapes or what I say, CD, DVD streaming.
Yeah, I love it.
Can come forward now. But yeah, we can live in the both and, or we can live in the in between. And that is the spiritual path, that it doesn't have to be always right. It doesn't have to be quite systematic all the time. But there is a path. And there are people on the path holding hands with you as you walk forward. Or they're ahead of you on the path saying, and there are people behind you on the path saying, you're safe to go forward. I got you. That to me is spirituality. That is our center.
Yep.
That yes, there are people who are saying, come forward or here. I'm reaching to you. And then I was, this is my favorite time of year, NBA playoffs. And one of the teams that I've loved because of their culture is the San Antonio Spurs, and they're doing well in the playoffs, but they were showing this scene where this young guy was defending another guy. But when you're watching it, and then they closed in on it, that the man behind him had his hand on his back, like, you good, stand forward, right? Like, you're not by yourself. You're defending right now, but I'm right here. You're good. I'm holding you. Hold your space. And I thought, wow, I didn't see that before. How beautiful. So it looks like, boom, boom, boom. You're not getting past me. It's like, yeah, because someone's got their hand on your back saying, you're good.
Yeah.
You're safe. I got you.
Teamwork.
Yes, and I think that's really part of the new role that I'm transitioning to at the center is, y'all got this.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yeah.
To support you, to say, I take it this way, but if you go this way, I'll catch you. Right? There may be a place you stumble right here, and when you stumble, I'll come and say, you ready to get up?
Yep. Yeah.
Not saying, I say, you ready to get up? This path is a little bit easier. Oh, you're going to keep on this path? Okay. I'll catch you over here. But to really, there's this cry, this hunger for more transformative information. How do we connect? People are wanting to draw in. People are like, well, we need, how can we advertise the church? I'm like, oh my God, these are the best questions. I'm not sure. Right? So, you know, and that's it. Live, love, laugh. That
Yeah.
in the end, it's the end.
Yeah.
But right now is all we got. And are you happy?
Yeah.
Do you feel loved? Do you feel valued? I mean, to me, that's why even we have the namaste moment. Oh, that's simple. We don't need that. People don't want to be hugged. Okay, I'm gonna hug you anyway. So there's hugging. All of us, that if we're in those 3 or 5 minutes, I go all the way to the back of the church. So then I got to come back up to the front. But in those minutes, I want to look in people's eyes. I want to touch people. I love watching it after the service.
Yeah, me too.
And to see everyone just talk.
So cool.
Yes, that's because in those moments, someone saw me. Maybe I worked a whole week and did not feel valued at my job. But at that minute, I'm starting to feel some kind of way, right? I was valued. I was seen. I was heard. I was touched.
And it's so cool too, because I think before you came, we had just gotten rid of that.
I know. I was told.
I know. So, but you brought it in a new way, and we're like, oh no, we actually do want to connect with each other.
Yeah.
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 And you can choose how you do. That's what I love. You could choose your own adventure. So you can come out and hug everybody, or you can just stand there, and just witness. And it's a choice, but you're there and you're participating no matter what. It's beautiful.
Yes. And to me, that's the most important part of the service. Right, when we are able to touch that community, and also at the end when we all hold hands.
Yeah. Kalia missed it.
Oh yeah, like hilarious,
Oh,
hilarious. Yeah, that she was upset about that.
She was like, I mean, I've never seen her like that before. My grandniece is 5 years old, and she missed the song at the end where we hold hands.
Because they were outside having fun in youth ed.
But you would have thought like her pet died or something. I mean, and she was inconsolable. To have that heart on fire about holding hands and singing the song, I was just like, okay, we got to figure this out. We can't let this happen.
That's right. Usually coming in, and my other favorite memory is if you don't know, at the end of our service, we sing a song. Let there be peace on earth. We sing, yes, there is peace on earth. So we want to affirm that. But our youth have been downstairs. And so they'll come up and then they're all like running in to find their parents. But one of my favorite times is when Ambrose, this is James and Maddie Kerr's son, like he saw where his parents were. And I guess he's like, I'm not walking over there. And so he just went to where Joe Lamantia, and I can't remember who was on the other side of him, and he just held their hands. Yeah. And I thought, yes, this boy knows this is a safe space for you. And so anyone in this circle, you can just grab their hands. Yeah. And he was I was like in tears almost. Like, look at Ambrose. Just, I'm good with you parents here. Yeah. I'm going to hold these people's hands.
Yeah.
Right? Because the power of touch, the power to know that you're valued, that's spirituality. Yes. And so we have a system. But if our system is not allowing you to live your best life, if you don't feel loved and you can't have fun, like I started all my messages with a silly story. Yeah. Hey, why? I got a lot to say in my messages. Yeah. Let me just hit with that point. Why? Yeah. Let's laugh first.
Yes.
Yeah. That is the spiritual path, that sacred place that connects at the heart.
That's a spiritual path I want to be on. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, did we cover everything?
I think we're probably good, unless you want to talk about anything else. I wrote these 2 things, that life supports me in every possible way. I just love that
so that
so
quote
much.
by Louise Hay, life supports me in every possible way. Do people believe that? Right? I think most of us are waiting for that other shoe to fall, or, Reverend Minnassa hugged me today, but if she knew what I did during the week, I'm like, I'm going to hug you. Right? Do we need bail money? Right? Do we need bail money? That'll be my probably next question. But do you really, that's a spiritual stance, that life supports me in every way. So even when I fall down, it's okay. Years ago, when Gail and I lived in Long Beach, her daughter-in-law and her daughter-in-law's bestie came with the grandbaby. And we were all sitting around and talking, and Aurora did something where she fell, and it was like a big, loud thud. So now you got all these mothers in the room, plus Gail is the grandmother, right? So when she stood up, she looked at all of us, and we all just continued our convo, like, you didn't die, you okay, right? Like, in the midst of this, now if she started crying, I'm sure we all would have ran towards her. But again, that's part of life. That sometimes you fall, but there's folks around you, and you just need to look, and you okay. Keep going, right? That's love, and you're gonna live your life, but that's fine. And then you can laugh. If you don't believe that life supports you in every way, that's the whole point. When she looked towards all of us, you had support and you okay. Yep. So we're going to keep talking. Even though on the side of our eye, we're all looking, is there blood? Is there any bones appear to be broken, right? Right. The life supports me in every way. So when you come to unity and you are a trans person, you're a gay person, you don't have money, you're minimally housed, stuff that we're nosy, we trying to find out. Maybe you have food insecurity. We still love you, and we will support you. You know, the beautiful thing about this city of Bloomington is they have so many great resources that we will help you find the right resources. But life supports you. If you could believe that. So even when you fell down and no one else seemed to be falling, life supports you in every way. I have asked the question several times at the center. Think about the worst thing that happened to you in your life and how now you appreciate that. So at that moment where it appeared that life was failing you, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 years down the line, you say, wow, I'm so grateful that awful thing happened. So life supporting me in every way, that is a transformative way of thinking. Right? That's not just information. That is transformative, a transformative way of thinking, yes. And then the kingdom of heaven is within you. This concept, again, that when you say that God is and I am, how do you live that out? So when you think about a kingdom, like you think about Great Britain, right? Because that's a kingdom we know all about. That the king or the queen, the king now, they have everything they need. Period. They know their territory, and in that territory they have everything they need. Every need met. Every bill paid. Got a whole team to fight with them and fight for them. That's what it means. The kingdom, that you are complete in yourself. It's all there. Just do you know where it is? That's the beauty I talked about in the tarot about the magician. That card, you see the magician in the traditional tarot, there's the magician, and then on the table are the wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. All right, all air, earth, wind, and fire, and water. Right? That everything you need is always at your disposal. That is, life is always meeting me. Right? But do you know that? When the kingdom of heaven is within you, it means everything that you need. Whatever you think heaven is, you are that. Because it's within you. And so you're good. Again, so that's how we can talk about that path. There's people telling you to come on. There's people behind you pushing you. That while you're having your battle, there's someone there with a hand on your back. That is all of that. That heaven is within you. You are good. You are not by yourself. There are people praying for you. Like sometimes I think, how did I make it through this day? Because my mama. I know my mama called my name out today. Right? So again, that spiritual support. There, when people fill out the prayer request, there are people at our center holding space for you. I love it. Joni sat that chair in the back, and I saw my prayer chaplain. I was like, don't come up in here with no mess. You're not going to leave here not healed. You're not going to leave here not. And then Mary Medora sat back there. I was like, these prayer chaplains just, ow. Right? That's transformative. All of those people that we have, eight prayer chaplains just be sitting in their seats on Sunday, not doing anything. But instead, they invested a weekend of their life to unlearn what they knew about prayer and to relearn in some ways. And boom, serving the center in that powerful way, holding space so that I can do what I do and the choir can do what they do and the members can be connected. And that's transformative. I gave them a bunch of information over that weekend, and now they're living it. I give people information on Sunday. I have an inspirational call in the morning, and people are living it. That is what the spiritual path is. Yes, we have a systematic belief about things, and I'm going to go over that again. Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth. And the founder, Charles Fillmore, has stuff. It's just a little bit harder to read. Where Eric Butterworth is like, butter. In reading that. And then, yeah, if you had told me this was my journey, I'd be like, I'm doing that. No. I'm never going to leave California. All right? And, I'm not going to marry some lady. Mm-mm. And I'm not going to be a pastor of some weird, radical, spiritual woo church. No. And yet here I am. So everything, every happy thing, every hard thing put me on this path. No, I'm feeling all emotional again.
It's all right. Yeah, it makes me want to say, in case you're watching this and you've never been to a Unity Center and maybe you're coming from a traditional Christian background, that's okay. And if you want to check it out, this has been a phenomenal. I've been part of Unity as an adult, I think, for about 3 years. And it's so rich and so nourishing, and there's no bottom. There's just, if you choose this path, it's going to blow your mind, and it's going to expand your heart and change your life. And it's wonderful. And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's completely natural and beautiful. And I welcome you. Yeah.
Proud spiritual leader right here. Right. And that's the whole point, that you don't just need to hear it from me.
Yeah.
Because that's your gig. Right. Unpaid.
Very much so.
Sponsorship, unpaid advertisement, right?
Yeah.
But that's what's happening in our community.
Yeah.
People are going out and people say, you're different. What is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, what they do over there at Unity?
Yeah.
Come on in. We're going to get you. We're going to love you. Like, there's a person there, I won't say their name, but they're just in a hard process of healing. So when I see them, I hug them. I say, I love you like a fat kid loves cake. Right? I always tell them that. When I see them, I always tell them, I know you're not going to leave here without my hug. So one time I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. People were talking to me after Sunday, and then I saw them. They said, well, you told me I wasn't going to leave. I'm like, come on. That's right. Come and get this hug. Right? Yeah. That's transformation. Because they would have just walked out and been like, bye, cray lady.
Yeah. And it's not, the woo-woo is kind of funny, but it's not like flighty. I mean, I think you talk about that. It's like, like spirituality, I'm feeling good. I'm imitating you. There's so much depth to it. There's so much depth, and I'm learning more all the time. And the way that you talk about the Bible makes me want to learn more. It doesn't feel repellent. It feels like, oh, tell me more about what that actually means in my real everyday life.
Correct. Just like your dad said, in the work that he does, let's go deep.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to do that. That's why your brain is a safe place. That's why it's good to have information, because I'm safe up here. But let's go deep.
Yeah.
That's
embodiment.
Feels
good.
And then, that's embodiment. Is it in me? That guy has a funny picture. I can't remember what was happening, but it was like Queen Elizabeth and I think Prince William. I'm not sure. I think Prince Harry was there. And something was happening and they were all walking. So like even the Queen and all of them were walking. And then some carriage moved and Prince William was like, I'm going to run after this. Right? And Prince Charles and Princess Diana were not at the front. But Her Royal Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, was. But when Prince William started to run, she became Granny and ran after him and caught him. And people were like, oh, the Queen. Okay, no, she wasn't Queen Elizabeth at that time. She was embodying Granny. Right? Both and. You can be the Queen of England, but your grandson was getting ready to get hurt. And so she ran after him and grabbed him. And, right? And so that's what we're saying. Can you embody it? Good to you, whatever your title is. I'm the spiritual leader, but do you see me loving? Right? You're the member of the board, but are you loving? Right? And so I used to work with a man, and he, instead of being the chief executive officer, he was the chief servant officer.
Oh, wow.
He was the CSO.
Yeah, that's how it should be. I feel like the more power you have, the more you can say, I'm stewarding this for all of us. which is not what's happening now or has happened traditionally. But
Correct. That's not a
yes.
patriarchal model, but
Yeah.
yes. And so that's when you say about my transformation, that's my transformation
Beautiful.
that I'm going through, is that how can I serve that? Yes, there's still an aspect where I lead, but how can I serve more? How can I bring my bigger I? And so even you talking about just kind of confirming today, I thought I also need to do a Bible study
Oh, yeah.
so people can
Yes.
understand the Bible. It's very well organized and systematized, and I'm going to talk about some of the lost gospels. I'm going to do a set of series off from those books, which is so. Yes, I had to make some changes because I need to have time to study those. Because
Yeah.
of course I didn't learn about those in seminary, other than we had a man who actually came and talked about having found them, but they didn't go over them. And so I don't speak on something until I've studied it, I've looked at other sources. But that's part of where my time is. How can I transform? Where can I learn more? How can I embody these teachings? How can I step out of the safety of even unity and say, okay, what more can I learn? And then also, Charles Fillmore and Myrtle, they wrote so much.
Yeah.
Like I have a book, it's because I had to get it for class. Like literally, it's this thick of all his writings. It's just Charles. Like instead of having 8 individual books, they put it all in one big book.
Back in the day.
Yeah. So it's just. I thought, this is perfect. So there's a lot of information there too. How can I embody this? I mean, we never even talk about their healing story. That Myrtle had a death sentence. She had some form of tuberculosis, which you're not going to live very long once your lungs become compromised. And someone she heard, I think it's. Emma Curtis Hopkins, or ended up studying with her, like, oh, I can be healed. That is God's good. God wants me to be whole, not this punishing you bad. Oh, and so as her consciousness changed, her health changed. Say, well, I have an updated consciousness. My health hasn't changed. Well, then maybe your consciousness is to be, I will accept this. Right, and then Charles Fillmore hurt himself and got a healing, right? So again, these are people that had to be willing to embody the things they learned, not just know it.
It's exciting. Yay. always learning and growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Jana's big word. Are you curious? And most people aren't curious. So even back to your concern about people having one source of because people just aren't curious. Just tell me.
Yeah.
It's like, that works for how you make coffee or how you make toast or this is to fix your car.
Yeah.
But with life, curiosity.
Yeah. If you're seeing something on television and then you're going out in the world and experiencing something different than what they're telling you, that's a good moment to question.
Right. But oftentimes in familial systems,
Yes.
in religious systems, questioning, it has a consequence that most people don't want.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to question.
Right.
Because I saw the person at my church that questioned got kicked
They're
out.
gone. Yeah. Yep.
Or in our family, that they're the
Right.
black sheep over there. Because why? Because they asked questions. They wanted to know what was really going on. So, well, I am proud to say one of the things that I'm wanting to do is to develop new voices. So like Maryellen spoke on for our Women's History Month. Luke spoke. So on Mother's Day, like I have this thing, like I'm a mother, so I don't want to be working on Mother's Day. But Mother's Day is on Sunday, which is one of my major work days. So this Mother's Day, we're going to have Elsa Cheney, 11 years old. 11 or 12. I think she's told me 800 times. I can't remember. Yeah. Or I'm not able, or not remembering. Not that I can't remember. She will be our speaker. And then my daughter Lily will be the service leader.
Nice.
Because one of the things is that oftentimes churches do is that they use the same people over and over again. And then when new people come, you want to pounce on them. So no, let's develop who we have. And I want young people to know you matter at the center. And so, Mabry spoke last year at Youth Sunday. Your son was the service leader, Christoph, right? So if they have an understanding that they matter and they're also important at the center, or like, Mabry was the service leader with her dad.
Good job.
And so just bit by bit. So if you watch us online, please tune in on May 12th, or May 10th, or Mother's Day, whatever day it is, May 10th, to support Elsa. She's going to speak. She's got a really good topic. And Say, if you haven't already signed up for one of the fundraisers, what's going on with your life? Just saying, we're almost running out at this point. We're at the halfway through point. But just, my earrings.
Oh, those are beautiful. I've been looking at them this
I
whole time.
made
Like,
those
wow.
in Michelle's class, in her fundraiser.
Gorgeous.
She does jewelry for her living. And she taught us how to do that. So, yeah, I'm wearing my earrings today.
I'm going birding this Sunday. I'm really excited.
Oh, tell me more about that. Yeah, because I'm very interested.
It's on the beeline, but I'll let you know.
I want to
I've
hear
got a
about
pair
that.
of binoculars.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
With Wendy.
I've done it one other time with my cousin who's into it, and she could just hear a sound and be like, oh, that's this. And so it's fun.
How exciting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's much to do. If you're looking for a place that's not perfect, so let me begin with that.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a place that's not perfect, that is full of kind and generous people. If you're looking for a place where you're going to be challenged in your theology, but supported and loved and educated and informed and inspired, and then also have the ways to embody that, and you live in the Bloomington area, what the heck? Come on over to Rogers Street and the traffic circle.
Yeah.
Which I think is Gordon's Pike. We're just down the way from this. You can stand at the Southwest Library and you'll see us.
Yep.
But if you also don't live in Bloomington, there is a Unity community. If you've seen a place called Centers for Spiritual Living, go there. And I'll get the name of some other places where you're wanting to be connected to your spirituality, but looking to be informed so that you can continue in the process of transforming. I mean, look at it. I told Maryellen, hey, I found out that the library has a digital center where you can do like a podcast. She's like, okay, we're going to do a podcast. Okay, we went that right again. I just gave her some information and she transformed it into this very thing that we're doing right here. Teamwork.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, and we hope to see you again next time.